Today is Thursday. We're in Teiras Menachem Sefer Marim Tavshin Yud Aleph Tavshin Yud Beis. In the Maimer Vid Beis Tammuz Tavshin Yud Aleph. Dibra Maschal Nosato Lireiecho Neselis. We are on page Kuf Yud Beis, the second paragraph, Umitzad. We're learning about the difference between Avodas HaNisyonos and Avodas HaBirurim. Over here we focus on Avodas HaNisyonos, serving Hashem through the process of refinement and serving Hashem through the process known as tests, Avodas HaNisyonos, challenges and tests. The difference between the two, says the Rebbe, is in three things. In each of the three components that makes up the Avodah, the serving of Hashem, in each of these two. In each of these two you have the thing with which one does the Avodah, serves Hashem. There's the person who has the job to get it done, and there is the method. And in each of these three, Avodas HaNisyonos is different than Avodas HaBirurim. First,
why does it go in that order? Because in a way you have three elements. You have yourself, then there's the other thing, and then there's what's happening between you.
I don't know if it's mediyuk that he's.
The order. It's just the fact. It's just.
I'm not sure that he's being medayik specifically in the order. It's just highlighting these three components. And he says like this, that a nisayon, that which represents the nisayon, the test, the challenge, has in it a holy spark, a spark of holiness, a spark of godliness, because otherwise it wouldn't exist. But there is an inherent difference between the way the godly spark exists within a test and the way the godly spark exists within something that needs to be nisbara, needs to be refined. In the latter, its presence is more pronounced in the birur, in the thing that needs to be refined, whereas in the nisayon, in the test, it has been subsumed by what it gives life to. And he used the example of chaticha atzma nasis nevela, concept from Lireiecho, where a piece of meat that became osur, that became prohibited because of the fact that something other than the meat, like milk, got mixed into the meat, got mixed in with it, the entire piece of meat now becomes a prohibited substance, a prohibited object, and it has consequences in terms of if that falls into other meat, for example, how many times, what ratio you need in order for it to be bottled, and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is, it becomes so overwhelmed by the phenomenon of the nisayon, the test, the challenge that it gives life to, that it becomes completely dark. It itself becomes almost, they use later the term, almost like shalosh klippos atmeis, almost to that extent. So now, this is the difference in the thing. The difference between the object of something which is in the bracket of Avodas HaBirurim and something which is in the bracket of Avodas HaNisyonos. The difference in their existence and how they are. What's the consequence of this difference? That's where we're up to. Because of the above mentioned difference between something which will be refined to something with something through which the test and the challenges presented is made, because of this difference, the consequence of that is that it causes there to be a difference in the person who does the job, who does the work, who serves Hashem, and in the method in which he deals with it. So when we talk about tests, the person needs to work with his existence, with his very being, and with his very essence. And with no other matters, which are the secondary, the outer elements of the individual. He doesn't work with those. Because this mirrors the spark of holiness which is present within the thing through which the test is presented. The challenge is presented. What remained intact from the holy spark, from the divine energy that gives life to this test, that causes this test to exist, only the very essence of that energy, because the outer elements of the energy have been subsumed by what? By that which it gives life to. So because all that remains is its very essence, therefore the way you deal with it, the person works with his very essence. That is the other side of the coin, if you will, or if you the antidote to the Nitzitzeliki, the godly spark, the divine energy that is present within the Nisayin, only in the form of the very essence. The Gam Eifenhave, the method. So what does the person activate? The person activates his very essence to deal with the Nisayin. How? Now, how does he engage practically with the Nisayin? The method of serving Hashem, the method of getting the job done here with the test is not in a way of a war. He doesn't fight the test. He doesn't debate the test. He doesn't get involved with it. To debate and to discuss and so on and so forth. No. To debate and to engage and so on and so forth until he finally is able to refine and to lift. No, that's not the method of engagement. The mode of engagement when we talk about a test, a challenge. How does he deal with it? Through the fact that the person awakens from within him his essential determination and his essential bittul specifically. Right? In other words, a person has to tap into the deepest recesses of his soul, the etzem hanefesh, basically, the etzem haneshama, and activate the etzem haneshama in order to deal with a test and a Nisayin. And the Rebbe now goes into explain it by Richa Sabir. Chapter 3. Obiprati Yisrael in more detail. Inei. Tchilis in Avedas Abirurim b'B'shas Atfila. The beginning of this concept, this idea of serving Hashem through refining, that starts during davening. Kemaimer, as the Zohar says, Sha'as Tzleisa, Sha'as Krova. The time of davening is a time of war. Whom are we fighting? What's the war? Ba'inu. Obviously, we're talking about the Nefesh Habamis, the animal soul. Although we know that generally the idea of Avodas Habirurim, serving Hashem through refinement. When do we refine and elevate the world? That is specifically when? During the time of eating and drinking, or when we use all things physical. That's when we are engaged in this process of refinement. What is the idea of refinement? You work with Gashmias, and you refine it, and you lift it to Kedusha. So why do we say that the time of davening, when we seem to be what? Spiritual and connected to Hashem, that is a time of war? What is the meaning of that? Nevertheless, in order that not only should the physical matter not cause the person to descend even lower, but on the contrary, that the person should be able to affect elevation in physical matter. How can that be accomplished? And he should refine and elevate the spark of divine energy that is clothed within the Gashmias, instead of the other way around, that the Gashmias should cause the person to descend. How can the person accomplish that when he's involved with eating and drinking and using physical matters? So the Chalisha's clothes is, first you have to affect, there's the necessity first to affect a general weakness. In weakness in what? Hein ba'atzmai, both in himself, meaning in his physical body and in his animal soul. It doesn't mean a physical weakness, it means a weakening of this tremendous drive to be connected to physicality and materialism. So both in himself he has to cause this weakness, and also in the physicality and the materialism of the world. So this, in other words, you have to soften up the Nefesh Habamis. You have to soften up the Chumri Yisraelim. You have to soften up the Gashmi Yisraelim, the physicality and materialism of the world and also of the human being. How do you soften? When does that process of softening up take place? That weakening? This is why the serving Hashem through davening is called the time of war. What does that mean? During davening, we affect a general weakness, a general softening up in the body and in the animal soul. How? This takes place first through the contemplation that one should have before davening, contemplating the greatness of Hashem and the smallness of the human being, and then followed by the contemplation that one should have during the time of davening itself. What do we contemplate during davening? Part of the contemplation that takes place during davening is we contemplate how the Oifanim B'chayis HaKodesh, these angels that are called Oifanim B'chayis HaKodesh, the holy animals, these are very high levels of angels. So when we contemplate this idea during davening, and we contemplate Sheisheir Nefesh Abamis, we know that it says in Chassidus that what is the source of the animal soul? The source of the animal soul is the celestial animals, the Chayis HaKodesh, those great angels in the Kisei HaKavod, in the Merkava Elyona, in God's chariot. That is the source for the animal soul. Through Ribu Hishtalshalus, of course, through a great descent and so on and so forth, right? When a person contemplates that the source of his animal soul is what? Is really what? The Chayis HaKodesh that stand before God, that they serve a tremendous bittul, nullification. So you, Nefesh Abamis, why are you driving me towards being connected, involved with materialism and enjoying it? So when a person contemplates these ideas, it softens up the determination of the Nefesh Abamis of the animal soul. And therefore it also softens up what? One's sphere of influence in the world that one needs to deal with. And incidentally, the Rebbe says, the halach is that before you daven, you're not allowed to eat or occupy yourself with your physical needs that are unnecessary for davening. Why? Why indeed? Because before a person affects a general weakness, a general softening up in himself, in the Nefesh Abamis, of course, and his body, and in his sphere of influence in the world, there is room to be worried, to be concerned. There's room to be concerned that not only will one not yet be able to lift the physical matter with which he has to work. On the contrary, there is the fear that this physical thing that he's going to engage with will actually cause the person, will drag the person down. And only after one davens comes the order of eating bread of the morning, eating breakfast, and all the other things that are connected with Avodas HaBerurim, the serving Hashem through refinement. After one has caused a general softening up, which is the beginning of the battle, one can continue and go into the second stage of this war, of this battle, which is which is, as the Zohar says, that bread is also eaten by the edge of the sword. What does it mean? Not that you use the knife to cut the bread. It means to say that it's a battle when you eat. This is the idea of what does eating represent? It represents the occupation, one's occupation with refining physical matter.